I'll be damned. After all these years, Sonic Unleashed is finally on PC. And today we give thanks to the incredibly skilled fan developers who made this happen. So sit your tushy down, subscribe, Patreon, all that stuff you hear from every YouTuber, you know what to do. And let's not waste any more time, let's talk all about how Sonic Unleashed came to the PC. And why this is such an incredible thing. Say what you will about him, Sonic fans get things done. If you want a really super polished, incredible new version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, well, Chaos X has you covered with PO6. If you're left lamenting that Sonic Colors Ultimate wasn't a better remaster, well, Blue Wolf Blitz has you covered with Sonic Colors Re-Rainbow. Do you want a really great new classic Sonic game that's way better than Sonic Superstars? You've got the Star Drop duology of Sonic and the Fallen Star and Sonic and the Moon Facility. You've got Noah Copeland's Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit. You've just got so many options. And it's all because Sonic fans get things done. They do not accept half measures, they will finish the job themselves if they have to. Is that a great precedent? Not for Sega, no, but I am endlessly grateful that I get to have the absolute best experiences possible with these games thanks to these incredibly skilled people. Now, Sonic Unleashed has an interesting place in Sonic history. As the final mainline title of the 2000s, it kind of served as the transitionary point between the experimental Sonic games of the 2000s and the very homogenized and simplified Sonic of the 2010s. And in the 2020s, we've seen a concerted effort from Sega to bring previous Sonic games to current generations with remasters and ports such as Sonic X Shadow Generations, Sonic Origins, and Sonic Colors Ultimate. And this, of course, includes PC, where officially you can now play Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Forces. So that leaves out only one mainline boost title, Sonic Unleashed. And Sonic Unleashed would really benefit from a PC port. The game was graphically gorgeous, easily one of the best looking Sonic games to this day. However, it was maybe just a little bit too beautiful for the Xbox 360 and PS3, as frame drops were abundant, from water boosting in Adabat to just rendering the werehog's elaborate fur textures. However, Sega have shown zero signs of ever bringing Sonic Unleashed to PC for a couple of reasons. One being that the source code for Sonic Unleashed was lost long ago, making a port kind of a pipe dream. And the other being that, well, Sonic Unleashed wasn't very well received at the time. See, up until Sonic 06, the reception of Sonic games was primarily via sales figures and official game journalism outlets, which are often to be taken with a grain of salt, as gaming journalists aren't necessarily the key demographic for Sonic titles. However, Sonic 06 and games after released in an unfortunate spot. A time where the gaming message boards and YouTube reviews were really starting to light up.
Get off the wall, you slutty fat bitch!
But the conversation was dominated primarily by Mega Drive kids,
'cause Sonic doesn't need a story,
who were completely opposed to anything that was any kind of step forward from this.
Amy Rose was an abomination.
The fuck she do to you? The actual target demographic of Sonic wasn't really old enough to be online yet, so this was the conversation for the next few years.
I don't want change! I don't want change! Everything has to stay the same!
Now, that's not me saying if you didn't like Sonic Unleashed, then you don't like change. No, there are definitely some valid criticisms. The werehog is only really going to be good for a consenting audience, but if you came to play a Sonic game as you'd expect it, this is going to be jarring. No more jarring than the mechs and treasure hunting of the adventure games, but hey, double standards are perfectly natural, kiddo. Nobody's perfect. With the really courageous shareholders at Sega seemingly feeling a little too uneasy about bringing this one back to an audience who might be mean to it, it has been the mission of Sonic fans for around a decade now to bring the Sonic Unleashed experience to PC. And with the PC release of Sonic Generations, we were of course blessed with some incredible mods, including the Sonic Unleashed project from Sonic Retro, a massive mod that ported the daytime stages of Sonic Unleashed over to Sonic Generations, which works really well given that Sonic Generations modern style gameplay is ultimately an improved version of the day stage gameplay from Sonic Unleashed, and this was the best we had for some years. While the downgraded visuals from the original Sonic generations did carry over to the Sonic Unleashed project, this did give PC players a means of experiencing what's considered to be the strongest aspect of Sonic Unleashed. It also gave those familiar with Sonic Unleashed a means of experiencing the game with a stable 60 FPS frame rate. I said stable 60 FPS frame rate. What are you doing? So this was by no means a perfect one-to-one translation of Sonic Unleashed. The strengths and weaknesses of the Sonic generation's modern playstyle when compared to the day playstyle from Unleashed are on full display. I'll bet the jury's out on the more controlled speed of Generations when compared to Unleashed, but the steering, drifting, and stomp are all much better, with the stomp effectively serving as a means to cut all of your momentum on a dime, which is a good feature to have. But then there's the more awkward lightspeed dash and slide. But partly because of this, I would say that even with other means of playing Sonic Unleashed releasing since, the Unleashed project is still fun to boot up. The subtle differences in gameplay style make themselves evident, and before you say they're pretty much the same, I dare you to play Unleashed and Generations back to back. Muscle memory will fuck you, it's why all my footage sucks. But there's much more to see than just that, such as the transformed white space, which is now Sonic Unleashed themed, complete with the human NPCs hanging around and new music remixes. And upon beating the stages as modern Sonic, you are rewarded with the chance to replay them as classic Sonic, and alterations have been made to accommodate for his playstyle. And that's part of the fun with the Unleashed project, seeing how this team managed to bypass the limitations. No Egg Chaser? No problem. We'll use the gun truck instead. But I still wouldn't call this a proper substitute for the Sonic Unleashed experience, more a highlights reel. And that's really no shade towards the folks who worked on this, they couldn't have done a better job. The dedication is on full display here, but with Generations offering up its own and, in my opinion, improved take on Sonic Unleashed stage gameplay, that's not necessarily the reason why I'd want to revisit Sonic Unleashed. Despite me saying Generations' modern gameplay is superior to Unleashed's stage gameplay, I'd still say I prefer Sonic Unleashed. And that's because of how fleshed out this world feels. I honestly like the Werehog. I like the hub worlds a lot and the NPC missions, which are the best they've been in any Sonic game. To me, it's that populated, lived-in and believable world that sets Unleashed above its contemporaries. Sure, Sonic Generations has excellent controls, excellent level design, but it doesn't have this. Well, with time, Xbox 360 emulation definitely improved with the Xania emulator, which gave us another means to play Sonic Unleashed on PC with its very own modding community. Of course, there are limitations that come with emulating the game in comparison to playing it natively. For one, emulation does require a bit more resource power, rendering the experience of playing Unleashed on the Xania a significantly more unstable experience with crashing and bugs. You're also still limited to 720p if you want to avoid more frequent crashes and bugs as well. Fortunately, Xbox Series consoles provided a new perspective on the Sonic Unleashed experience with their FPS boost options, which do substantially improve the game's performance, giving us an official way of playing an improved version of Sonic Unleashed on modern hardware, and it is much better than the hack job they did with Sonic Generations. The unfortunate thing is, this is just on the Xbox. The Xbox Series consoles are the only official way to play Sonic Unleashed at 60 frames per second. And it seemed like that was the way it was going to stay. In fact, it still kind of is in an official capacity anyway. As far as playing Sonic Unleashed on the PC, the Unleashed project really was the best we had, which was just one chunk of the game. This is why, when fan project Unleashed Recompiled dropped on PC in March of 2025, it was a huge deal. Like, all the Sonic fans on social media were chatting about this one. It was a total water cooler moment for this fan base. If you're into the Sonic modding scene, a lot of the folks that brought this project here to life will be familiar to you. It's a real who's who of skilled fan developers led by Scythe, who also developed the tools necessary for this recompilation that can also be used for further Xbox 360 game recomps. So, what is this? Well, it's Sonic Unleashed running natively on PC, no emulation necessary. But to achieve this, they've used the Xbox 360 version of the game, When emulating any game, you dump the ROM onto your PC, so they used that dumped Xbox 360 ROM and basically recompiled it. Just getting the thing recompiled is only one part of the job though. There's a lot that goes into just getting the game to run, getting it to run correctly, getting it into the best state it can possibly be, all work that I can't even comprehend. Lord knows I've been called out for getting the technical mumbo-jumbo wrong, so I'll just go ahead and say, shit is difficult, and the people that make it work, very skilled. Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't this just piracy? Well, no. You need to dump the Xbox 360 version of Sonic Unleashed into your files, and then access that using the installer wizard in order to get this to work. They're not going to let you do it without that. And speaking of that installation wizard, I really do appreciate just how legitimate this looks in terms of the UI already. It feels like this is 100% what a PC Unleashed install wizard would have been like back in 2008. You can also add all the DLC here too. And if you don't have the DLC at the time of the install, well, you can return to that using the install option on the main menu. From there, Sonic Unleashed on PC is yours. So, let's take a look at what's in store with this brand new recompiled version of Sonic Unleashed. Running natively on PC means customizable resolutions and frame rates, as well as compatibility with ultra-wide screens. Now, if that already sounds good, well, buckle in, because also included are some quality of life features. We've got adjustable anti-aliasing for nice smooth edges. We've got adjustable shadow resolution, adjustable motion blur, improved object transparency, which makes stuff like trees look that bit more natural. All things that just bring this game just that little bit more up to standard with modern games. The original version of Sonic Unleashed still looks really good today, but with these little quality improvements paired with the silky smooth frame rate, I could easily imagine this game being a smash hit on the PS5. But that's still not all. Included in the options menu are the options to disable control prompts, hints, and the Hedgehog battle music. Now, it would be a shame to lose that theme completely, as it's still a great composition, but fortunately it does still play in exorcism missions, but it means those night level themes get a chance to play properly and in full. It makes combat feel a lot less repetitive when you're not hearing the same loop over and over again. Which is great. Those night compositions are far too good to constantly be interrupted, and they finally get the chance to shine. In terms of performance, playing through the game, this was a pretty damn pristine experience. There were no crashes in my playthrough. The frame rate was generally consistent, with me only really experiencing minor drops in the Savannah Citadel day stage, and only very briefly. Everywhere else, this was as smooth of an experience as I could ever ask for. The team did a truly spectacular job of porting this over in an age where good ports are never a guarantee. So much work and love has gone into this, and it means that I finally have the complete set of Boost Sonic games available to me on my PC now. I can run them all natively, and this is easily as good as any official port would be. Maybe even better, because we don't know what kind of job Sega would have done with this. What if they redubbed it? What if they rewrote the dialogue like they did with Generations? It's a possibility. Or what if they just simply released it unfinished and covered in band-aids like they did with Sonic Colors Ultimate? It could happen. Not even Sonic Origins, not even the classic Sonic games were safe from that kind of treatment. But here we have a version of Sonic Unleashed with not a single compromise, not a single downgrade here. This is it. It's here. The game is here on PC, and it's fantastic. Wow, seeing it in HD, I did not realize that the fortune teller lady in Shima has 2 sets of eyelids. And there we have it, our definitive PC version of Sonic Unleashed. But that's still not all. See, even when this was confined to the Xania, there was still a small community adding fun, creative mods to the Sonic Unleashed experience. Well, almost all of the mods from the Xania version of the game remain compatible with Sonic Unleashed Recompiled, and we're now getting devoted mods for this version. The game is fully compatible with Hedge Mod Manager, which is kind of the de facto tool for installing Sonic mods, so the convenience is all there. Now I will say, if you're a content creator planning on doing review-style content for Sonic Unleashed, obviously I suggest playing the true Sonic Unleashed experience first and foremost. But if you just want to have the best possible time with the game, here in my opinion are some excellent mods to start off with that will give you what is, in my opinion, the best Sonic Unleashed experience. Starting with No Medal Requirements by Starlight. So, one of my personal biggest gripes with Sonic Unleashed is the progression. Stage gates in Sonic Unleashed often require a set amount of Sun and Moon medals to unlock, which pads the game's runtime and requires you to backtrack in search of the Sun and Moon medals. There's a lot of different ways to find these, sure, and their bark is definitely bigger than their bite, but when it comes to Sonic games, I really just want to get straight down to business, and I can do that with this mod. What I found incredibly interesting though, is that when I live streamed the game with this mod enabled, the game still clocked in at around 8 hours on what was ultimately a casual playthrough, as I did spend some time engaging with the NPCs and taking part in side missions. I'm sure the game can be beaten much quicker than that without the medal quotas, however, I do appreciate the option here to set my own pace. The game is jam-packed with content, I do not need the game to enforce any pacing on me. The next one I want to talk about is the Foreign Input System by King Galactics. This improves the leveling up of the Werehog, as well as restoring various combos from the beta version of Sonic Unleashed, massively expanding the Werehog's skill set. There are even air levels which allow more options for aerial combat, which will become incredibly useful when fighting the bee enemies. Next up, there's Werehog's Fury by Vakiti. Simply put, the Werehog is sped up. Attacks are sped up, general movement and physics are sped up, unlocking combos is sped up, it's all sped up, but to a degree that still feels natural and intuitive with the game. It's really nicely tuned here. If you felt the Werehog felt a bit out of place among the fast-paced action of Sonic Unleashed, this mod does wonders to make the Werehog feel a bit more diegetic to the overall game. Next up is Increased EXP Pickup Range by Starlight. Both playstyles magnetized the EXP diamonds in the original game, but the range was never brilliant, meaning that the player often had to make a concerted effort to pick up all of their hard-earned EXP. This mod expands the magnetic radius some, complementing the overall flow of the level, meaning you can move forward a little bit more and don't have to keep stopping to pick up the stray EXP. This is my chosen configuration for the definitive Sonic Unleashed experience, but it's safe to say that people are going hog wild with their configurations and some really cool choices. There's Like a Werehog in its various forms by Starlight, which brings the combat of the Werehog a little more in line with the heat fighting style from Yakuza. The Werehog is stronger, but so are his enemies. A lot of this is very similar to the aforementioned Werehog's Fury mod, with improved upgrading, combos, and speed. However, Like a Werehog appeals much more to those of you who love combat, who love a good beat 'em up. As while battles are more satisfying and stimulating than they are in the base game, they also last a lot longer too, and are just a bit more challenging. This one is for the combat lovers out there. There's also improved progression by King Galactics, which gives you, the player, the chance of setting your very own pace for the game. You can reduce the medal quotas to a happy medium, you no longer have to visit Professor Pickle to unlock acts if you know where to go next, stat balancing and combo unlocks are all faster now, and this also incorporates the increased EXP pickup range. I'd recommend this one as a good starter mod for people who just want to improve the Sonic Unleashed experience, but aren't quite sure where to start. Sonic Unleashed Reimagined by Team Encore is a total overhaul of Sonic Unleashed, giving the stages a total makeover with new lighting and new textures, and having you traverse these stages with different characters that weren't originally playable in Sonic Unleashed. This mod also factors in the Like a Werehog gameplay style, as well as a final battle against the end with the help of the Supreme Titan, which is significantly more in line with what I imagined Sonic Frontiers' finale being than both of the endings that we got in the original game. That's not me saying it's better, as the lack of force field transparency makes it really difficult to see what you're doing, but it is still a really cool idea. On top of that, there are just so many different character mods to play with. I gave Amy Rose an identity crisis from the looks of things. So, Sonic Unleashed, it's finally on PC, what's the catch? Well, for this project on its lonesome, no, genuinely no, there's no catch. We have the definitive version of Sonic Unleashed here that's bound to have people falling in love with this game all over again. Heck, even gaming journalism outlets have nicer things to say about Sonic Unleashed than they did in yesteryear in their articles about this project. They've made history with this one. I'd say the only downside is that Sega really should have done this themselves. But then again, recompiling Xbox 360 games is pretty damn novel. This probably isn't something Sega thought possible, and developing recompilation tools, that's not really their MO. But damn, chalk this win up to the talent and skill of the fans. Amen. So if you want to see my review of Sonic Unleashed as a game, the original version, there is my video, Why Sonic Unleashed is the Best Sonic Game. I go into detail about the original version of the game and why I still think it's one of the greatest Sonic games ever made. Be sure to check that out if you want my comprehensive thoughts on that. But for now, what do you guys think? Comment below, discuss, and as always, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to my Patreon page, where you can get ad-free access to this video, as well as be able to download it. You can watch it anywhere without a Wi-Fi connection, it's like magic or something. There's exclusive bonus content, and you can get your name in the credits, all for $1 paltry, which is a little to Starbucks, but it's a lot to me. A special shout out goes to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. They are Silver, Josh Strider, Grant Allen, Zach Brakowski, Twalord, Coco210, Hey It's Classy, Ian, Shohenshin, KB, RT0, Carlex, Sad Goku, Dare Denny, SSS06, Kale Bennett, whoa, an Unleashed PC port, I know, right? Kenke, Mr. SP, Cirrus the Skeptic, Biotin, and Vera Wild. Thank you, good folks, so much for your generosity, and to all of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Now get out of here.